Once upon a time, in a galaxy far, far away, there was a planet. And on that planet, there was a university. And a professor there taught international business. But the students didn't like the course at all, because it was boring. Because teaching international business in a classroom is like teaching how to swim in a desert. So the instructor started thinking, is there a way to make the international business course better? And he thought, well, maybe if I took my students and found a professor who teaches a similar international business course in a different country and teamed up my students with students of that professor and they worked together for a semester, that would make an interesting international business course, because in the process, students would experience firsthand challenges of international collaboration. So the instructor sent out an email through the Academy of International Business asking if anyone wants to participate in this project. To his surprise, quite a few universities responded, and many professors said they would like to team up their students with students from other countries so that those can work together in an international collaboration project. They started small, but then the project grew and grew and grew until they had pretty much every single country on this planet represented. They have something like 80 universities in a given semester with about 3,000 students from something like 40 countries. And then all those professors got together trying to decide what would be a good task for those students, for those global virtual teams. And they thought and they thought and they thought, and eventually they had a very good idea. Hey, how about we make the students write a business plan? And not any business plan, but a business plan for an international company. So the way it would work would be this. The students would first choose an organization. It can be any organization they like. Something big and known and famous like Toyota or Walmart. Or they can take a smaller company that maybe one of the team members work for. Any company would be good enough. And then once the company is chosen, the team would have to come up with an idea for a new product for that company. And again, the product can be completely new, like the next big thing, something revolutionary, like a light bulb or a computer, or maybe an iPhone, or it can be a modification of an existing product, whatever the team wants. And once they decide on what the new product would be, they would have to decide on where it should be sold or offered if it's a service. Maybe in a new country, maybe in the country where the company currently operates. Whichever location you think will bring the most profit, that's what you should propose. And once the team decides on the market, they have to develop a market entry plan. First, entry mode. Should the company, for example, just sell the license to the new market, or maybe they should go with a franchising option, or maybe they should establish a fully owned subsidiary, or maybe form a joint venture. And then you would have to decide on staffing. Would you hire locals? Would you send expatriates? Maybe would you hire third country nationals? And then the most fun of all is marketing. How would you sell your product? How would you market it? Especially if the proposal is to go to a new country, you should remember that whatever marketing strategy you use in your home country may not and probably will not work in the new country. Now, we have used this task for quite some time now, and many teams did a decent job. Some teams didn't do so well, but some actually wrote very good reports, and when we showed them to the businessmen, many of them were impressed. In fact, so impressed that some of the business people came to us and said, hey, all those smart students you have, maybe they can help us. I have a business problem. Maybe the students can solve that problem for us. So now this semester you have a choice. You can write a generic business proposal as described above, or you can go to xculture.org/challenges and see what the real challenges are presented to us by our corporate partners. There are many companies that have real-life problems that they want your help with. Again, whatever your team chooses to do is fine, but take a look. Maybe there is something there that you can help with. Now, many students wonder, what's in this for me? Why should I participate in xCulture? Well, participating in xCulture gives you first-hand experience in international collaboration. So next time when you have to work as a member of global virtual team, you will be able to do it better. On top of that, you will actually get a document that signifies your experience in international collaboration, an X-Culture certificate. Who knows, it may help you get a job one day. In addition, you will have friends all around the world. There will be something like 7 countries on your team, so next time you go to Malaysia or the United States or Ukraine, you may actually have a friend there. In addition, we actually have X-Culture meetings every year. So, when the X-Culture is over, we invite the best students to attend a conference. And here are some pictures from the last year's conference that we held in Florida in the United States. Maybe you will be able to come this year, who knows? I'm sure by now you're all excited and you want to participate in X-Culture and you just want to know what's next. What do I do? Well, first of all, you have to read 2 documents that contain all the information about X-Culture. One of them is X-Culture Student Instructions. This file tells you what needs to be done. The other file is X-Culture Training. This one tells you how you can do what's in the student instructions. You should have received these files from your instructor, but if you haven't, just go to xculture.org, click on the Student tab, and you will see the links to each of these documents on that web page. About 3-4 days before the project starts, you will receive an email from the X-Culture office with a link to the X-Culture pre-project readiness test. Yes, you will be tested whether or not you are ready. That email will contain a link. Just click on the link. It will take you to an online tool that will look something like this. You will have all kinds of questions about X-Culture and you will have to answer them one by one. Hopefully you will be able to answer them all correctly, because the quality of your answers will determine if you can participate in X-Culture or not. And those students who will be able to answer most questions correctly will be participating in the project. But those students, and we usually don't have many of them, but sometimes we do, those students who will not be able to answer the questions correctly will not be allowed to participate. I am sorry, but that's the rule. We have students from some of the most competitive universities on the planet, and they want a good experience. So if somebody comes unprepared, that student can spoil the experience for the rest of the team. So only those who are ready can participate. So you better prepare. Now, you probably wonder how we form X-Culture teams. Well, usually each team contains about 7 students, sometimes 6, and all those students are selected on a random basis. The only rules we follow is that each student should come from a different country, though occasionally it may be the case that there will be 2 or even 3 students on your team from the same country. On the first day of the project, you will receive emails and names of your team members, and you will be communicating on the internet. Now, in terms of the communication tools, you can use whatever you want. You will probably establish contact using emails, but then many teams switch to Facebook or Google Docs or Dropbox or Skype. Whatever works for you works for us. Many students also use Google Translate to help them with the foreign language. Some students use Doodle to schedule meetings. Any tool is fine. In the student instructions file that I mentioned before, you have detailed instructions on how to use each of these tools. You can use all of them or you can use none of them. It's completely up to your team. But we recommend that you try to use some of these advanced tools because they may be helpful one day in your real job. Now, X-Culture normally accounts for about 20 to 30% of your course grade. So many of you probably wonder, how am I going to be evaluated? Well, every week you will have a survey. Those surveys are individual, so regardless of what your team members do, you will have to answer those questions individually every week. Don't forget about that. That's a big part of your grade. And then obviously and most importantly, your team will write a business plan. At the time when you will submit that business plan, it will be automatically checked by a sophisticated software for plagiarism. So if you copy and paste some text, we will know about that. But hopefully you won't. You're an honest student, we know that. In addition, all those instructors will come along and read your report and give you a grade. And hopefully that grade will be a good one. On top of that, Your grade will also be determined by your peer evaluations, so all team members will evaluate one another and give one another a grade, or a mark as some people say in some countries. Now, some teams may have students who don't do much. And if you have students like that, just give them a big fat F, or fail, right? And just don't view that student, because that brings us to the next problem, the challenges. One and probably biggest challenge in X-Culture is a missing student. You will have people from all around the world, and some of those students may not be as serious as you are. Don't be that lazy student, because when you sleep, your team members are waiting for you, and that's bad. And they will give you a fail at the end of the project. At this point, I just want to thank you for your attention and wish you good luck. And consider following us on Facebook, or maybe going to xculture.org to see what's new. Thank you. Bye-bye.